Picture this. On stage, Jimin is flawless. His smile is blinding. His movements leave millions of eyes speechless. But behind that black curtain, far from the glare of every camera, there's one person who always whispers quietly to him. Jimin, have you eaten? Don't forget to rest. Welcome back, Army. Today we're not going to talk about stage lighting, spectacular choreography, or just how impossibly good-looking all 7 of these men are up there. Today, we're going behind the curtain, to the moments that cameras rarely catch, to the quietest, yet deepest, friendship between Min Yoongi and Park Jimin. Before we get to those heart-melting moments, we need to understand just how massive the context is here. At the end of 2022, BTS announced their hiatus. One by one, they entered mandatory military service. Jin went first, then jhope, then RM and V. Jimin and Jungkook followed in December 2023. And the last one, SUGA, who completed his social service duty on June 18, 2025. On July 1st, 2025, all 7 of them appeared together on Weverse Live. An army around the world cried. Actually cried. They announced a new album, Erarang, set for release on March 20th, 2026. The lead single, Swim, immediately shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album topped the Billboard 200 for 2 consecutive weeks, the first time a K-pop group had ever achieved this. And then, the tour began. BTS World Tour Erarang, 82 shows, 34 cities, 23 countries. Kicking off April 9th, 2026 at Goyang Stadium, South Korea. This wasn't just a tour. This was the greatest comeback in K-pop history. But beneath all that euphoria, there's one thing that rarely gets talked about. How these 7 people look after each other, especially when their bodies have already endured years of grueling training, injuries, and unimaginable mental pressure. And this is exactly where SUGA comes in. For those of you just stepping into the BTS universe, and if you are, welcome, brace your hearts. SUGA and Jimin are probably the most unexpected pair to become close friends. SUGA, or Min Yoongi, is known for being quiet, outwardly cool, and always looking like a cat who refuses to be impressed. He's a rapper, a producer, and the kind of person who will casually say, "I'd rather sleep than go out." Jimin, Park Jimin, is his complete opposite. Warm, expressive, deeply affectionate, always making sure everyone around him feels loved and seen. But it's exactly that contrast that makes their friendship so beautiful. In Bon Voyage Season 4, there's a moment that's still talked about in the ARMY community to this day. Jimin showed up in a mountain of layers for New Zealand's cold weather. A fuzzy sweater, track pants, hiking boots, a pom-pom beanie. And SUGA, who rarely lets his expression slip, smiled. He said Jimin's outfit reminded him of Jimin when he first moved to Seoul from Busan. Before debut, just a fresh-faced kid from out of town. SUGA remembered a detail that small. Years later, that's not just an old roommate. That's someone who truly pays attention. Alright, now we get to the moment that sent ARMY worldwide into a complete spiral back in March 2024. HYB released behind-the-scenes footage from SUGA's solo tour, August D Tour D-Day, specifically the US leg, which ran from April to May 2023. The 30-minute video gave fans an intimate look at what goes on backstage. But the one thing that absolutely stunned the ARMY community was this. Jimin showed up. April 29th, 2023. Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey. SUGA had just finished an incredible show. And waiting for him backstage was Jimin. He had traveled to be there. Not to perform, not for any obligation, just to support his friend. In the footage, the two of them immediately fell into casual conversation. Or more accurately, the kind of bickering that only people who've been close for over a decade can pull off. ARMY watching at home were laughing and crying at the same time. SUGA brought up the fact that Prudential Center was the same venue where BTS had performed during the Wings tour back in 2017. And apparently, 2 members had a pretty explosive argument right before taking the stage that night. Jimin remembered it instantly. Yeah, they were shouting at each other. They kept going right up until 5 minutes before they went on. 2 people who have been through so much together. Long tours, the weight of an industry, the hardest chapters of their lives, sitting backstage, laughing about old drama. But in between the laughter, there was a quieter moment. SUGA, in his signature way, few words, but full of meaning, turned to Jimin and asked, in a more serious tone, "Did you eat? Don't forget to take care of yourself." 3 words, but the weight of them, immeasurable. Because SUGA knows. He knows how hard Jimin pushes himself. He knows that the perfectionism living inside Park Jimin is a double-edged sword, capable of producing breathtaking performances, but also capable of grinding down his body and spirit from the inside out. And ARMY knows. Jimin is not someone who easily admits when he's worn out. Throughout BTS's career, there have been many moments where Jimin pushed himself to perform even when his body was saying no. There was a 2017 concert where he fell ill mid-tour, and you could see the genuine worry in the faces of the other members. There were stretches where his performance on stage was flawless, while behind it, he was quietly struggling. This isn't weakness. This is dedication that runs almost too deep. A dancer, a vocalist, a performer who measures his own worth by how perfectly he shows up for ARMY. Jimin has said that seeing ARMY happy is the biggest reason he keeps going. But a statement like that, as beautiful as it sounds, can also become a burden, because it means he'll keep pushing himself right up to the edge. And this is where his friends step in, especially SUGA. SUGA himself is no stranger to physical setbacks. For years, he battled a serious shoulder injury, and that experience changed how he thinks about health. It's not something you can put off for the sake of a performance. Your health is the foundation of everything. So when SUGA reminds Jimin to eat, to rest, to not push past his limits, it's not small talk. It's a friend who has lived through what it means to ignore your own body, and who refuses to let someone he loves go through the same thing. Now imagine the scale of the Arirang World Tour. 82 shows, 34 cities, 23 countries, starting April 2026 and running through March 2027. Stadium stages with capacities of around 50,000 fans per night. This isn't just a tour. Cultural analysts are already calling it potentially the biggest K-pop tour in history, in terms of both scale and revenue. But what you can't see from those tickets that sold out within hours is what happens behind all of it. For nearly a year, these 7 people will move from country to country, constantly shifting time zones, shattered sleep patterns, voices that need to be protected, muscles that need to keep performing. And on top of all that, the mental pressure of expectations, after the biggest comeback in K-pop history, sitting at an all-time high. And in the middle of all this, who looks after Jimin? Of course, all the members look after each other. That's what makes BTS extraordinary. They are not just colleagues. They are a family built over more than 12 years. But in the internal dynamic of BTS that ARMY has observed across the years, there's a consistent pattern. SUGA is often the quiet, steady reminder that Jimin needs to hear. Not with long speeches, not with drama, but with small things that leave the deepest marks. Behind the scenes of the Arirang tour, based on various candid accounts shared by crew and fansite accounts, SUGA has been spotted more than once approaching Jimin after long rehearsal sessions, checking whether Jimin has had enough water, quietly telling Jimin to stop running the choreography again when his body has clearly already given its signal. That's enough for today. Simple words that from anyone else might sound ordinary, but from SUGA, Jimin knows it isn't in order. It's genuine care. Jimin has never hidden how much SUGA means to him. In various moments over the years, Jimin has described SUGA as someone who is hard to approach but always there when you need him. A beautiful paradox, isn't it? SUGA won't come with big hugs and sweet words, but he'll be there, quietly, in the corner of the room, making sure everything is okay. And the clearest proof of that bond came in June 2025, right after SUGA completed his social service. Jin's solo concert was taking place at Goyang Stadium, and SUGA, who had only just returned to public life after more than 2 years of near-total absence, showed up alongside Jimin and Jungkook to support Jin. It was his first Instagram post in over 2 years, his first public moment back, and he chose to capture it beside 2 of his closest friends. That wasn't coincidence. That was a choice, and that choice speaks louder than any words ever could. Some might wonder, why does any of this matter? Why are we talking about things that happen off camera? Things that the world never fully sees? The answer is simple, because this is what makes BTS, BTS. Not just the perfect choreography, Not just the chart-topping songs, but because behind all of that, there are 7 real human beings who genuinely love each other, who look after each other, who refuse to let each other fall. RM told GQ before the Arirang tour began, "The most important thing is just that we are here back together again. Not about records, not about sales figures, just about being together." And SUGA reminding Jimin to take care of his health. That is the most tangible expression of what together actually means. Because you cannot truly be with someone if you don't care about how they're doing. Through 4 years of hiatus, ARMY learned something that was hard to admit. That what we missed most wasn't just the music, wasn't just the concerts. It was moments exactly like this. 2 people sitting backstage, reminding each other, being there for each other. And now, with the Arirang World Tour underway, with 82 shows still stretching ahead, we know those moments are still happening. Every single night, behind every curtain. In an entertainment world that is fast, visible, and endlessly performed, there is something extraordinary about a friendship that grows precisely in the spaces no one sees. SUGA and Jimin don't need cameras to care about each other. They don't need an audience to show that they love each other. They do it because that's what happens when 2 people have walked through more than a decade together. The highs and the lows, injuries, pressure, joy, and everything in between. And maybe that's why moments like these, SUGA quietly making sure Jimin has eaten, Jimin showing up at an August D concert just to sit in the crowd and wave, lands so deeply in ARMY's hearts. Because all of us, at some point in our lives, want someone like that. Someone who doesn't need to say much, who just shows up, who remembers, who cares, even when you never ask them to. So to SUGA, Min Yoongi, who has always been the quiet guardian of the people he loves, thank you. And to Jimin, Park Jimin, who always gives everything on that stage, but who also deserves to be looked after. Please keep taking care of yourself too. Those were the behind-the-scenes moments that prove the friendship between SUGA and Jimin is one of the most beautiful things we get to witness from BTS. If this video warmed your heart, or made you cry, because ARMY, that's just who we are, don't forget to leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and drop a comment below. Who is your favorite BTS friendship duo and why? I'll be reading every single one. Until next time, ARMY, Purple You, Purple Heart.